Hi, and thank you for joining us with Specht Solutions YouTube. I'd like to continue today talking about our local justice system, our courthouse, our clerk's office, our district attorney, and our public defender's department, and just how accountable all of these entities are. Folks, one of the biggest problems that we're facing in our justice system today is lack of accountability. We're simply not getting quality representation for the accused. When you have the ability to afford an attorney, if you're rich, and you can afford $500+ an hour for a really good attorney, the chances are you're going to walk free, even if you're guilty. But if you do not have the ability to pay for a very good attorney, if you're very innocent, you get manipulated into pleading what they call nolo conteste, no contest. They use no contest, no contest, no contest in the courtroom in this day and age. It's slang. And no contest is nolo conteste. And it is the Weston plea. It's stating that their preponderance of evidence is so overwhelming against you that you're not saying that you did it, but they're going to convict you anyway based on their overwhelming evidence that they have on you, and you don't have the ability to really prove your innocence. So when you have a system that has a 98 to 99% conviction rate that the district attorney is very proud of, folks, this is statistically impossible. DNA is only 99%. So that means that there's a great percent of folks that are going through the system that are being manipulated into pleading nolo conteste, no contest, out of fear that their punishment is going to be far worse since they don't have the ability to afford an attorney. The public defenders that are court-appointed attorneys that are appointed to them, well, they make a set fee. And they don't make a lot of money. It's per case. They don't get paid by the hour like a normal attorney would. They get a set fee. They could be working for very, very cheap if this case goes on for 5 years. And it's in their best interest, from a money point of view, to get their client to just go ahead and plead as quickly as possible. It goes through the system very quickly that way, and they make quick, easy money. But that isn't necessarily creating the kind of justice that our communities deserve and seek. Because these individuals that are going through the system, that are being wrongfully accused, roughly a third of them, close to a third of them, are being wrongfully accused and punished for something they simply haven't done. This is something that needs to be put to a stop. The way to do this, two things have got to take place. Three things, actually. You have a clerk's office. It is the clerk's obligation and responsibility to see to it that everyone is notified properly, that they have accurate information, and that both the accused as well as victims are notified throughout all of this, of all court proceedings. And the clerk's office, on a regular basis, they drop the ball. There's not proper notification that goes out on their behalf. They don't research cases well enough. Then we have the public defender's office that makes very little money, and you have cases that go back to court and go back to court and go back to court and go back to court. Continue, nothing getting resolved for months, even years, 5 years in certain cases. I can think of a case that is 5 years right now, still currently going on, and it has to do with a woman that was accused of child endangerment. Her child was taken away from her years ago. She'll never see her, and she's not been convicted as guilty. You had officers do an illegal search and seizure out of jurisdiction. They went to Los Osos, California, San Luis PD, to do a search and seizure when this was not their jurisdiction. It was the jurisdiction of Sheriff Parkinson. Yet they went out, did a search and seizure, and made allegations that the mother did not have a firearm that was registered to her properly secure, and claimed child endangerment. Refused to give up body cams to show that search. Susie Walsh, the same woman that resigned, who also was doing the oversight on the Helios Day Springs marijuana grows. Helios Day Spring was caught bribing politicians, building officials, police officers with marijuana money to manipulate the system to get his way. Funny enough, Susie Walsh, the same officer that resigned as soon as these allegations came out about her, she's the one who was in charge of the out-of-jurisdiction illegal search and seizure, resulting in the removal of a child from this woman in Los Osos. So this woman did not have the ability to pay for a good attorney. She did, and she was making headway. Spent over $18,000 of her cash, became broke, spending every penny she had on an attorney. Once she was broke, not only did this attorney that was helping her give her a bill, she currently owes $5,000 that she doesn't have to him, he abandoned her, and she was stuck getting a public defender. Teresa Klein, who's been working with the families that have had children taken away from them, sometimes on the behalf of the children, sometimes on the behalf of the parents, for 25 years. And she's been involved with the removal of children for families for all this time. And the system has not given this woman, who is accused of all of these wrongful doings, the ability to get proper representation. She's gone through, at this point, 8 separate attorneys that have all dropped the ball. None of them getting her the very basic information she asked for to begin with. Body cams to prove her innocence. They refused to give this. Based everything on their overwhelming preponderance of evidence, which is all hearsay. No fact to back this up. And this is what we're dealing with in cases across the board. When you have a public defender's department that is not going out and properly doing their job and having investigators do their job, subpoenaing the proper people, whether it be body cams, witnesses, there's an awful lot to a case to prove the innocence of their clients. And they do none of these things at all. Absolutely nothing. You can push them and push them and push them, and you have the public defenders that will literally fight with you if you try to get them to prove your innocence. So, what do you do with a public defender's department that has the contract of representing these people that are being accused, in many cases wrongfully accused? What do you do when they don't do their job, when they're literally guilty of what I'll say malpractice, when they do the opposite of their job and do more harm for their clients and make them look worse for no reason when they don't need to do this? And this happens in many, many cases. As we move forward, I'm going to present facts and actual cases to prove that this is actually going on. I will be interviewing different victims that have experienced what we're talking about here this evening. And what we need to do is bring awareness. So folks out there, you're not alone if you've experienced this. This is a common thing. And it is, in my opinion, not serving the will of the people in the best interests of justice, the way that our courts and our courthouse, our district attorney's office, our public defender's department are all run. This is all being run as a business for profit, not to give we the people actual real justice. And this is what has to change. And it's all about policy. Like everything else, policy has to change. And what this really, really, really comes down to is our Constitution, our Bill of Rights. They are not being executed on behalf of we the people. They're hanging by a thread, and it's happening across our whole nation. Our Bill of Rights and our Constitution is being spit upon and taken away from us as we speak. We need our patriots, we need our citizens to step up and speak up and protect our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. These are our freedoms. And they're violating it at our courthouses, in our court systems. They're violating it through the Department of Social Services, going in and stealing children, literally, cash for kids, making a profit of taking children, separating them from their families because their families are too poor to be able to afford to get proper representation when they're accused of wrongdoings. We need a system and we need leadership that's going to work for we the people. We need district attorneys, we need sheriffs, We need police officers. We need judges, district attorneys, deputy district attorneys. We need all of these people to honor and cherish our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and do nothing that coincides or does that is the opposite of our Constitution. Their behavior should coincide with our Constitution. And this is what we need to see. We need to call them out, force the accountability. And this is what I plan on doing with Specht Solutions. So, thank you again for joining us this evening. Next, I am going to bring an interview with one of the victims. We did a March for Justice, calling out for body cams. We may have to do some telephone interviews, but we're going to try to have some actual face-to-face interviews here with Specht Solutions of our victims. So thank you for joining us. Stay tuned, and we will bring you some actual facts with people, victims, and paperwork to show the chain of evidence, how it was distorted, and how people that are going through the system even currently are currently being wronged. Thank you, and have a good evening.